And here we go. So for this video, we're going to do, okay, so I think we're still recording, testing. I think that's going. Well, we'll hope for the best. So there's two ways to do this smokestack. The clear, obvious one is some sort of revolve, because they've given us a section view, like an inside view, where the vertical line would be our revolve axis. So we would just need to draw this sketch and then revolve it, which you could do as it's shown by trying to figure out what these lines are. But when we do it this way, we're actually going to make it solid and then cut out holes from the top, because then we can just make these holes. One is 0.375 wide and 1.5 deep. That's the long, narrow one, and measured from the top. And the other one is 0.875 wide and 0.375 deep. Which, if we were doing this if we were trying to make these inside features as part of the revolve, we would need to like split this in half and do a lot more calculations, where if we just revolved it as solid, we could cut those holes out pretty easily. The other way we're going to do it is by doing just extrusions and lofts. Super easy. Actually, it's actually not super easy. We can't do it the other way because we're not given the diameter for this widest point. All we know is that it goes up at 15 degrees, which in other, not to be mentioned, 3D modeling software, you can do an angled extrusion or a tapered extrusion. I wonder if it's called tapered. Taper. No. I guess. Okay, so we aren't going to do the other way, since we can't do a tapered extrusion, which is super easy if that was a tool in Onshape. It is not. So we are just going to make the sketch, but ignoring the center part. Make a sketch that looks like this, just the right side, and revolve it, and then do the holes on the top, or the cuts from the top. So where we are here, well, first of all, do yourself a favor, get a full screen, and we'll make a new part studio over here, and we can right click, rename it Smokestack. Okay, and so we're just doing a sketch, and we might as well sketch on the plane called front. And let me move this over here. And we'll look at it straight on. And let's turn off those origin planes. And just like the rest of the revolves, we'll start out with a vertical line, which this is going to be the total height, which our total height of everything is 1.75. We're putting that sketch or that line here, but it's still the same total height. So we'll dimension this to 1.75. You can recenter it. And just like with the various pegs, the horizontal distances are cut in half, since they're going to be doubled as you revolve. And so this horizontal line is half of this. So half of 0.5 is 0.25. And just to do two steps at once, we have a vertical line of 0.25, so we can go ahead and put both of those in. We're still sketching horizontal line from here, perfectly horizontal. We'll dimension that to 0.25, and it doesn't really matter if it's out of the way. And then, oh wait, that one doesn't need to be that tall, but we're going to dimension it, so it doesn't matter, 0.25. Okay, so the next portion, we need this line that comes out here. That's a slanted line. We are not given the angle dimension of how it goes. What we can sort of figure out is the location of this point. And then we can connect that the end of this line to that point. This point is 1.5 off of our baseline. And the distance from the center out to that point is half of this, which is the diameter at the widest point. All right, yeah, the widest edge. So we're just going to make a work point out in space, 1.5 from the ground and half of 1.25 from the center. And once that's dimensioned, we can then just connect. So let's get a point, put it roughly in the right location, and dimension the distance from that point to something, either the bottom line, this corner, or this corner, though it will all work the same so long as you put the dimension line out here. And it is 1.5 from the ground. And we also need to thanks. Okay, and like I said, the distance from here to the center of everything, just make sure you get a line that's actually dimensioning the horizontal, where if you saw how when it starts, it sort of pops over. So we want this distance, and you can put in the arithmetic of 1.25/2, which is 0.625. And now we have this point, which we can just connect this to this, and it's already fully dimensioned. Then what we have here, you can only go with the dimensions they give us, which we don't know the location of this. We don't know the diameter at the widest point like we do for this widest edge. What we do know is that as it goes up at 15 degrees off of vertical, and it goes up until it reaches this highest point. That's all we know, and that's enough. So what we're going to do is figure out that dimension. So we're just going to draw a line, and if we had construction lines, let's see, do we have construction lines? Yeah, you can use a construction line. You can actually use a regular line for this. It doesn't really matter, just so long as you snap it to vertical. And then we can draw a line from here going roughly the direction. And you can try to line it up by going like this and then going over, but it's not critical at this point. You do need to just draw it up in that direction. Then we can dimension the angle between this line and this line, set it to 15. So the angle dimension, if you missed it, is dimension tool, click on one of the lines, and instead of setting a length dimension, click on the other line, and then you can go up and make it 15 degrees. And then our connecting line just goes from here, because we know that's the main height, all the way over until it runs into that slope line. And there you go, we have a closed loop. So we'll finish the sketch. This is all on the first sketch. And we'll look at it from a corner so we can see it. Revolve. What do we want to revolve? We want to revolve this shape, so we'll click in the middle. Then we need to tell it the axis that we want, which is this one. And there is the main portion of it. And we can turn off the visibility of the origin point at this point. Okay, the only other two features are this longer, narrow hole that goes down the middle, and this wider, shallower hole that also is centered on the top. I'm going to do the narrow, long one first because it makes it easier to do the second one because there's more material to sketch on, but you could do them in any order so long as you're measuring both of the depths from this top surface, because that's where they're measured from. So we'll put a sketch on top, and we're looking at it from the top, and let's use use and click on the edge. That will give us the center point. We need a circle that starts at the center, and we can dimension it to 0.375 and finish the sketch. Look at it from a corner, extrude, choose our circle, switch it to remove, and our remove distance was 1.5, and hit OK. And then the other indent is a diameter of 0.875 and a depth of 0.375. So we'll sketch on top. We need to do use again, we'll project, get a circle that goes out past the small circle, but not to the big circle or to the edge of the shape. And the distance is 0.875. And we'll finish sketch and extrude, choose that ring, switch it to remove, and our distance was 0.375. And hit OK. And I think that's it. Okay, make sure you name the stuff at the bottom and make sure, is this one blank? Yeah, this one's blank. Make sure that you have all of your part files as tabs in the same part. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, that's it.